G'day. So can you win with your ability, or do you have to add in tactics? This is the question that I think every player has. Am I good enough, or do I need to adjust my game to beat that person? Where does one finish and the other start? What does this mean? Well, the way I look at it is game style is how I play as a tennis player. It's just what comes out natural. For me, my game is maybe a little bit of serve volley, maybe wait with a short ball, get into the net, try and put the ball away. Just try and finish the points pretty quickly. That's my game style. I feel pretty strong. Unfortunately, but as I'm playing stronger and tougher guys, I find that doesn't work all the time. So I tend to have to try and then add in some tactics. Now, the hardest thing about adding in tactics and how these guys are going is trying to work out what tactics to do, especially if I've never played these guys before. Got to be quick on your feet. You've got to start your game with an idea of what you want to do, and if it's not working, you've got to adjust. Now, normally you can pick up sort of a few little things in the warm-up. I don't know if you guys do that, but I try and do that. I'll try and look at their forehand and backhand and try and work out what side's stronger. It's tough to work out when it comes to their volleys, whether they like volleys or not, because, again, it's all about the moving into that whole section between hitting the ground stroke or hitting their serve and then volleying. The other one is that even looking at their serve, they can bang down a couple of serves, but once the pressure's on, or the pressure of the game, or point play, or whatever it is, that's when you start to maybe notice their technical issues with their game, and then you can maybe find a way to attack those. With the warm-up, I definitely check out on what they're doing. Try and do a kick serve so it keeps the ball in play. It bounces up a little bit higher because, again, with the newer balls, just to see how they handle it. That'll be the first thing I'll do. The other one with that serve is also add in a lot of spin. So it might be a kick serve, a spin serve, a serve out wide on the juice side, kick serve out wide on the backhand side, and see how he handles that. The other one is I tend to try and do it very early on, is any chance I get to run around and hit a couple of forehands, I will definitely put that into my game, because that sends a message of two different things. One, moves my feet. So obviously being a bit nervous, you might be a bit sluggish with your feet, so that starts to get my feet moving, it starts to get me around, and it makes me feel good, it makes me feel confident, and I feel like I can maybe give it a go and be competitive in the match. The second one also is, if I run around and hit a forehand, it's going to send a message to the guy that I'm playing that I'm not afraid of what he's doing. I try and add that in for it. So like I said, the kick serve or the spin serve and the run around forehand. Now, when it comes to their game, there's a couple of things I try and do straight away. I will try and attack the second serve. I'll look to try and run around and hit a forehand if I can, or at least step in and take the ball early, get the ball back. Now, I don't even have to place it really well. I can just aim it straight down the middle, but just take it early, see how he reacts. He might see that I'm taking the ball early, and it might make him, sort of hesitate, lose a bit of confidence on that serve, and then it gets me started for that match. The other thing I try and do also is, like I said, in the warm-up, I've maybe looked at which side is a little bit weaker, the forehand or the backhand. So I might try and attack that side. So say, for example, it is his forehand. I can maybe try and do some different shots to that forehand. So a couple of loopy, high, sort of a bit more topspin forehands. Or I'll try even a slice shot, maybe a slice backhand that I'll do to his forehand, just to see if he takes it. Now, the other thing is that these two things that I'm trying to do, even though I think and a look that say, oh yeah, they're the weaker shots, they might be his best shots. So I then have to adjust pretty quickly, and that's the hard bit. I've got to make sure that I don't just do this all the time. So like I said, with the second serve, I might take it early, but also a couple of times I might step right back just to make him, again, think about things and not feel comfortable. When it comes to his forehand, pretty quick if the guy's got a very strong forehand, and then I've got to adjust it again. I might have to turn it and say, okay, I'll do some slice backhands to his forehand, but I'll put them short so that he has to not only run across, but he has to run forward. Again, it makes him feel uncomfortable. He has to get under the ball, lift it up and over and back into the court on his shot, and that can give me a bit of an advantage. This is a big tactical error that I've done. Guy walks on the court and he looks the part. You know, he's built. He's flexible, he's fast, he's got all the right gear, he looks the part. Even in the warm-up, you think, oh, wow, this guy can really play. But then you play the match, and it's not until down the track, because you've been sort of caught stuck in that time of thinking, God, this guy looks like he knows what he's doing, that you've made a tactical error, and you realise all you've got to do is just keep the ball in play, and he'll miss. I've also had it on the other side, where guys have walked onto the court and you look at them and they go, you know what, they're not fit, or they will come on with one racket, they don't have the gear right, they don't look right, and they're the ones that can surprise you. Because all of a sudden they start banging down some big serves, maybe a big forehand, winners everywhere, and you're like, what the? So just always start with the ball, you, and what you can do. One of the things I know also is that if I do these tactics and they don't work, I'm going to start and lose. And it's going to be tough to get back on top of that first set. The main thing I have to make sure I do is to stay calm, not stress out. The only thing I can sit there and say to myself is, you know what, I'm trying to do something here. I'm not being passive about this game. So I've come out and I've tried a tactic. It's not worked. Okay, I've got to step away, try a different tactic. Always have different things you can do, whether it's try a couple of serve volleys, whether it's try a couple of pushes up high and deep, or even get him to come into the net. Whatever it takes to get that different look at what he can do so that you can work out your match. I mean, it also, I guess, it depends on whether you're hitting the ball well or not. But again, if you're playing guys that are really good, you'll find that their weaker shots are definitely a lot better than you're used to. So. If I am starting to lose, I've got to, like I said, stay calm. I've got to make sure that I pretty much say to myself, well, look, you know what? The only difference between a winner and a loser is a winner definitely loses a lot more. So it's just another way of saying, you know, you've got to be in it to win it. But I try and keep that positive sort of, I'm doing something, I'm trying to make something happen in the match. Otherwise, yeah, I'll sort of lose that first set, and halfway through the second set, the match is lost. So what do you guys do in your matches? Do you guys walk out there to play a match and go, you know what, I've got a tactic, this is how I'm playing. I've spoken to people, I've spoken to people around the club and they've told me how this guy plays. I've gone and watched a match. What do you guys do? Love to hear what you have to say in the comments below. Don't forget to grip and rip it, and I'll see you next time.